Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of day 9 of Soul Detox SOS. I promised you I was going to give you some content on how to deal with various personality types, particularly personality types that are a little chaotic, personality types that are a little challenging, and that are a little difficult. Not judging, but we are certainly on a mission to get understanding and to be empowered. I do want you to hit that share button, share the content. I also want you to subscribe, and I want you to give the video a thumbs up if you would. Now, when we dealt with the various different personality types, I try to emphasize that there is a difference between a personality disorder and various challenging, difficult personality types. A personality disorder is a true, legitimate medical diagnosis. So we're not dealing with the personality disorders. We are dealing with the various personality types that can be a little challenging and a little chaotic at times to deal with. So remember, we talked about the histrionic personality type. We talked about the narcissistic personality type. We talked about the compulsive personality type. We talked about the dependent personality type, and we talked about the depressive personality type. Now, if you missed any of that content, back up to yesterday's recording, take a look at it, take notes, because these two teachings are actually complementary and they are companion teachings one to another. One of the personality types that we did not address yesterday, and I have no idea how I overlooked addressing this very particular and oftentimes pervasive personality type, and that is the passive-aggressive personality type. Now, the passive-aggressive personality type of person or individual is one that oftentimes expresses their negativity or their hostility in an indirect manner. We all know people like this, but sometimes we can be the people if we're not careful. Another characteristic of a person with a passive-aggressive personality is that sometimes they will deflect their actions or their inactions on other people, so that somehow or another, they're never responsible for anything. Nothing is ever their fault. They did what they did because of what you did. They said what they said because of what you said. They didn't do something because you didn't do something. They didn't say something because you didn't say something. And it's just a lot of deflecting. Now, remember, while we have been discussing and sharing about the various personality types, that can be a little chaotic and that can be a little challenging. We've tried to peek behind the curtain, look down into the bottom of the well, and really come to an understanding of what is at the root of some of these challenging personality types. So the person who has a passive-aggressive personality type is oftentimes a person that has unresolved pain or trauma, and they nurse their pain and they deal with their unresolved trauma through aggression that is subtle. And they do this because this gives them a sense of power, and sometimes it gives them a sense of purpose. It is really, really, really vital that we are always mindful of the fact that there is oftentimes something that is occurring behind the veil, behind the curtain, that is not obvious to the naked eye. This is where your discernment is going to help you and serve you at. And this is also where your vetted, verified knowledge of human behavior is going to serve you as well. Now, let's get to the heart of the question. How do you deal with people who have challenging personality types and characteristics? Is it possible to deal with people who have challenging personality types and characteristics? There are some things that I believe that you can do to help you to be able to effectively manage life, manage work, manage interacting, manage co-parenting, manage a relationship, manage working on a project with people who have challenging, difficult personality types, because they're everywhere. And education is not a cover for it. Religion is not a cover for it. The spirit of religion is not a cover for it. Age is not a cover for it. It can happen to anybody in any situation or circumstance. So one of the things that you want to try to do when you are dealing with someone who has a challenging personality type is you want to try to look for the hidden intention and or the hidden need. Remember, there's often something greater and bigger that's working behind the curtain, and there's often something else that's lying at the bottom of the well in their soul. So as you look for the hidden intention and need, you're asking yourself, what is this person actually really trying to gain? Or what is this person really actually trying to avoid? If you are able or cover up or suppress or manage or nurse, but if you can get to a place of understanding what their real intention is, why they are really behaving that way, and what their real need is, then you might position yourself to actually be able to show them a better and healthier way. Something else that you and I can do when we're dealing with people who have challenging personality types and characteristics, it is really important, and this can be challenging, but don't act defensively. This is tough because we are naturally rowdy at times, if you will, and you're naturally not enjoying the other person's behavior, and it can become irritating, and you can get to the place where you have reached your limit, and you may feel like you need to defend yourself, but the other person is oftentimes so wrapped up within themselves that you behaving defensively many times will have a counterintuitive reaction and response. Remember, this is not about you, so don't take it personally. I know it's easier to say that than to do that, but it's really, really important that you stay in control and in command of your emotions and not act defensively. Keeping in mind that some of these personality types, they want an audience, they want a reaction, they want a response, and the more rowdy, rah-rah you give them, many times the more that will actually fuel whatever it is that they're coming at you with and concerning. The other challenge of behaving defensively is that you may get them to back down for a moment, but in getting them to back down for a moment, oftentimes you are setting up a situation for greater and more volatility to take place. It's also important, third, I think I'm at number 3 now. Let's see, where are we? All right, we said look for the hidden intention and need. Do not act defensively. So now we are at number 3. Number 3, whatever you do, make sure you treat the person with respect. No one likes to be treated with disrespect, no matter what they have going on in their lives. And if you are going to treat the person with disrespect, it should not be surprising to you if they come back at you with the same kind of response and reaction. Remember, for those of us that are believers, we live by the book. And the book says what? That we are to do unto others as we would have them to do unto us. So it's important that you not necessarily feel the need to give them what you think that they deserve in their fallenness or in their foolishness, but that you actually give them what they need. And they still need love. They still need compassion, and they still need respect. Number 4, set limits and boundaries. You got to set limits and boundaries. So while some of the above things that I've given you and just stated encourage some sort of listening, if you will, on your part, it is also equally important that you set boundaries. You have every right and you need to be able at times to say, listen, do not talk to me like that. Do not come at me like that. And that's not you necessarily being defensive. That's you setting and creating boundaries. Setting and creating boundaries also includes guarding your time, guarding your energy. Setting boundaries and limits also include who has access to you and who has access to you on what level. Everybody should not be able to have access to you. Everybody shouldn't have access to you necessarily on the same level, especially people that it's problematic and challenging for you to deal with. It's not healthy for them, nor is it healthy for you. Number 5, do not respond or feel the need to react to everything and every situation. Some people are looking for a fight. They're looking for an argument. They're looking for chaos. They're looking for attention. And you have to remember, you do not have to show up for all of that. Look at the life of Jesus. He did not respond to every question, and he did not accept every invitation. He did not respond to every insult and accusation that was hurled at him. And take a lesson from the human life of Jesus Christ on earth. You don't have to respond, and you do not have to react, nor should you respond, nor should you react to every situation or circumstance that is presented to you. And definitely, by all means, guard your space, guard who has access to you and what level on which they have access to you on. Number 6, do not placate or patronize them. Saying stuff like, oh, I'm sorry, or, oh, I understand, or, oh, you're absolutely right. Don't say that when it's not warranted, because saying that when it is not warranted only exasperates the situation and it further enforces the personality type that you are dealing with. Next, take responsibility for your part. Ask yourself, are you feeding, enabling, and fueling this? Is there something that you are honestly doing to feed, fuel, enable the personality, characteristic, and type that you are trying to get away from? Many times you can tell if you are feeding, fueling, or enabling a particular personality type if you feel guilty about their poor behavior towards you. Another way that you can tell is if you are observing them with other people and they are a completely and totally different person. They display a completely and totally different personality type, and they show very different personality characteristics when they are engaged with other people compared to when you are interacting with them. That may be a true legitimate situation where you are actually enabling, either directly or indirectly, knowingly or not knowingly, the personality type, characteristic, and trait that you really, really, really are trying to avoid. Last but certainly not least, offer to pray with them, not just for them that you do in your prayer closet. You should do that. But it's very important for believers that you offer to pray with the person. See, a hijacked personality, a person who has had their personality hijacked, who has had their identity hijacked in some way or another, that is a person that's in the throes of a type and a form of spiritual warfare. Now, I'm not trying to get spooky, but I do have a responsibility to impart truth. And the truth is, again, that a person whose personality has been hijacked or their identity has been compromised, poisoned, or infiltrated in some way negatively, that is a person that's in the throes of some manifestation of spiritual warfare. And for those of us who are believers, it is really, really important and really critical that we be aware of all of the potential that exists in a fallen world. If the enemy can hijack a person's body, if the enemy can hijack a person's mouth and their language becomes defiled, then you got to understand and know that the enemy can also hijack a person's personality. We actually see a biblical example of this in the Gospel of Mark, chapter number 5. I don't have time to explain it and unpack all of that and give you commentary on it, but read it when you have an opportunity. It tells the story of Jesus encountering a man who he has had his identity hijacked. He has had his personality hijacked. And he is displaying depressive personality characteristics. He is displaying compulsive personality characteristics. He is displaying passive-aggressive personality characteristics. And if I thought long and hard enough about it, probably 2 or 3 other personality characteristics and types is this brother displaying in Mark chapter 5. And so it is very, very possible. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to try to perform. You don't have to try to perform an exorcism on them. But you do have a responsibility as a believer to pursue the help of the Lord on their behalf. And you have a responsibility as a believer to pursue the help of the Lord for you as you continue to engage with them and have to interact with them, be it at work, be it a family member, be it a loved one, be it a parent, be it a child, be it whatever the nature and the dynamics of the relationship are. All right, you're doing great. I'm super, super proud of you. We are still in Soul Detox SOS. If you're not following me on social media, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Actually, we have a private Facebook group for Soul Detox SOS. So this has been part 2 of day number 9 of Soul Detox SOS. Thank you so much for sharing part of your day with me. I hope that you continue to have an amazing day, and may the Lord bless you and keep you on your journey. Take care. We'll see you next time.